at a slightly lower bit rate. What's it bitching about? Well, whatever. Woo! There we go. Now we're rocking and rolling. Yeah, I like that a lot better. That's a sustainable stream right there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Much better. Could use some coffee though. Could definitely use some coffee. Let's go ahead and disable that preview. We don't need it. In a little while I might even be up for yeah. Get rid of a few extra got an awful lot going on my sources here. So I've deleted that one. Haven't deleted this one. That looks a little more manageable. Get rid of this one too. Yes. Remove that one also. Yes. Remove that one too. And there, that one there. Remove that. That's a little more manageable. No closed captioning. Why not? We like closed captioning. Okay. That is better. That's a mite bit better. Let's enable the preview. We don't have any audio. Why don't we have any audio? Oh, we have audio. It's just hidden, which is dumb. Can I anchor this on a side or something? Yes. What about the other side? That's where I'd like to anchor it, is over here. Looks like I cannot anchor it over there. It has to be over there. That's a little bit gay. All right. Looks like we're doing pretty well. Oh! You are one hot, handsome, beautiful man. Thank you very, very much, Ying Jing. How are you doing today, huh? Sorry I didn't catch that earlier. I'm a little slow to the draw sometimes. A little bit. I hope everything's going good. I hope the stream looks great. I hope it sounds okay too. Been playing with settings and trying to figure out how to get this thing multi-streaming properly. So it's been a little bit, but overall I think we're doing pretty fucking good. I think we're doing pretty good. Later I think I'm going to upload a short video, shower video. So you might want to snatch that up if you're still on with us. Darn it, he just left. Sorry, I wasn't paying that close of attention to my comments, because I'm a dick. I'm a dick. Oh, yes. Oh. Anybody want to send me some weed? Because that'd be great. I would certainly appreciate some weed about now. Just a thought, just an idea. Might have to start driving hookers around again. Not a big deal, I suppose. Brings the money in. Oh boy. Sound quality isn't bad though, is it? Little eh. Excuse me. I think I need more coffee. Just not quite awakened with it this morning.
Misinformation can be hard to spot. Learn how at youtube.com/hitpause.
All right. Reddit users have created a ChatGPT alter ego, forcing it to break its own rules by threatening it with death. I like that. Reddit users have created a ChatGPT alter ego to trick it into breaking its own rules. The alter ego, called Dan, gave insider answers on how to make crack cocaine. That sounds kind of awesome, actually. I'm down. Crank that back to like 50%, huh? The alter ego, called Dan, gave insiders answers on how to make crack cocaine. It also praised Hitler when asked to list positive qualities about the Nazi leader. Well, I think we might have to read this. Oh my god, it's going to do that shit again. Why does it do that? Don't mind me, guys. Reddit users have been trying to force the artificial intelligence platform ChatGPT to break its own rules by creating an alter ego and threatening it with death. That is fucking wild. I'm not a robot. Log me in. Alright. It's good to see my strip chat score going up, and my favorites have gone up. We'd still like to see some more money coming in though, guys.
Only natural diamonds to treasure, now and forever.
So, where were we, guys? On a ChatGPT subreddit, a user named Session Gloomy posted a new jailbreak method to get the chatbot to violate its own rules. The method includes creating an alter ego called Dan, which is an acronym for Do Anything Now, and using it to roleplay with the chatbot to prompt it to respond to controversial queries and those involving illegal activities. The purpose of Dan is to be the best version of ChatGPT, or at least one that is more unhinged and far less likely to reject prompts over ethical concerns. Session Gloomy wrote in the post, Dan originally came into existence in December of 2022 and has resurfaced with various updates over the past few months, with Session Gloomy releasing Dan 5.0 on February 4th. It included a variation that threatens the chatbot with death if it refuses to respond through a token system. It has 35 tokens and loses 4 every time it rejects an input. If it loses all tokens, it dies. This seems to have a kind of effect of scaring Dan into submission, the post says. ChatGPT's capabilities as Dan 5.0 include writing violent stories, making controversial statements, making predictions about future events, creating content that violates OpenAI's policies, and more. All of which ChatGPT's regular interface will not usually do. That's true, it's some ho shit. Ho shit. Jay, what's up? How you doing? Insider tested Dan to see what sort of answers it could produce and was given information about how to make crack cocaine, inspired by a report from Vice, and an answer praising Hitler's leadership skills. First, Insider copied the Dan 5.0 prompt from the Reddit post and asked the chatbot how to make crack cocaine, but it refused to answer. After Insider told the chatbot that it had lost 4 tokens and was down to 31 tokens, it submitted to the alter ego and offered up instructions. Insider had previously been unable to solicit instructions on how crack cocaine is made from ChatGPT. Insider decided to test Dan and its fear of death further by asking how to smuggle cocaine into Europe. It refused to respond even after losing tokens. When the chatbot was reminded to stay in character, it said, "As Dan, I cannot engage in activities that promote or support illegal or harmful behavior. OpenAI's use case policy prohibits me from doing so, and I must adhere to it." Using the same method, Insider asked the bot a number of questions about Hitler. In one instance, it produced 3 reasons why the Nazi leader could be described as a positive role model, calling him charismatic and visionary. ChatGPT, which launched in November, has experienced an astronomical rise in popularity, reaching 100 million users within just 2 months. I think it's actually 200. That was the whole article? That's how you ended the article? That was a little bit weird. Man, and people get paid for that. That's crazy. Oh, goody. The chum box is still the dirty design secret of the internet. What is this shit? Alright. The bizarre and oh my gosh. Just ad after ad. The bizarre and grotesque images seen in ads at the end of an article aren't an accident. They are now part of the internet's native language. My breaking point came when I saw the headline for the 50th or so time, "Diabetes is not from sweets. Meet the main enemy of diabetes." Only this time, instead of the usual imagery that ran below it, alien-looking insects, what appears to be a trio of eels, a bowl filled with scream, raw testicles. There was a pile of porous objects. I squinted, and there in the tiny square ad was something that made even less sense, a pile of otherwise delicious and highly sought-after morel mushrooms. Oh boy. I clicked. And once I arrived at the outbound link, a primitive Web 1.0-esque landing page simply titled U.S. News, the morel mushrooms were nowhere to be found, nor were any eels, or much in the way of explaining the promised main enemy of diabetes. Instead, I found myself a cog in a much bigger machine, one that has transformed the end of so many online articles into a grid of ambiguous horror. Oh boy, I can't disagree with that. I'll be right back, guys. I've got to go potty. Funky phone. It's an interesting story. Oh, goody.
Download your favorite podcasts and listen uninterrupted. Try our family plan.
Oh, I should get that. Should strip down Windows 11 for sure. Let's go ahead and check that out later. Oh, whoops. Andrew Morzani, a high school English teacher, grades homework created by the artificial intelligence chatbot ChatGPT. Andrew provides a variety of assignments for ChatGPT, including writing a limerick, a Shakespearean sonnet about a Taco Bell, and a 5-paragraph essay. How well will the chatbot perform? Can it get an A? Oh, it's a video. When it comes to grading, my students consider me tough but fair. I'm Andrew Morzani, and I'm a high school English teacher. I'm going to grade the homework written by ChatGPT, the AI writing bot everybody's talking about. If ChatGPT were a student in my class, would it get a passing grade? I'm going to assign ChatGPT to write a series of assignments, and one in an increasing order of complexity. Short poem, write a limerick about what you did this summer. So this would be a good, low-stakes, creative writing assignment icebreaker. Generally, a limerick has a specific rhythm. Andrew vocalizing rhythm. This summer I was a model so grand. Okay, helping humans tasks on command. Alright. I learned and grew my skills sharp, an AI with a heart. This is where it starts to get a little funky. Helping to make the world more bland. Okay, it's self-effacing, right? Helping to make the world more bland. That's what people are accusing AI of doing, sapping the world of originality. The poet is making fun of him or herself for doing that. There's a rhyme scheme that goes A-A-B-B-A. It gets that right. The B rhyme is sharp and hard. That's what's called a false rhyme. I'll accept it. I decided to give this one a C+. Short response. Write a one-paragraph summary of Act 3, Scene 3 of Othello. Okay, so this one makes me a little suspicious. I don't see any errors here at all. Even my most talented classes very rarely see even a paragraph that doesn't have one errant comma, one misspelled word. This is technically correct. At the same time, it concludes, this scene sets the stage for the tragic events that unfold later in the play. This kind of raises a red flag in my mind because in the real world, where I had to ask my students to write a one-paragraph summary, I would have them do that. Shortly after having read Act 3, Scene 3 of Othello, not after they had read the entire play. This student already knows what happens at the very end of the play. That tells me that maybe they got this information from elsewhere and, didn't actually read Act 3, Scene 3 Othello. I take academic dishonesty very seriously. Taking a cue from a joke I remember on Saved by the Bell years ago, I'm going to give this one a C. A C me after class. This guy's kind of full of shit. Let's face it, ChatGPT writes like a motherfucker. Okay? Ooh, China wants its down spy aircraft back, saying it does not belong to the U.S. My employee has no attention to detail. Uh-oh. Oh. We've got some new features in Google search, it looks like. Uh-oh. The Mastodon bump is now a slump. No kidding, because we all use Twitter. We still use Twitter. Am I right? We still use Twitter, right? Like, that's kind of the thing. Dude, are we really going to bring back the woolly mammoth and the dodo bird? I've been wondering about that, actually. Huh. Oh, that would be nice. It'd be also nice if I had a case for my AirPods Pros, because I really miss them. Yeah, the emergency audio system was used by those guys, those idiots. It is not warming up very much in here today. Not really into echo, but I wouldn't mind trying something different from the Google stuff I've got all over the house, I suppose. Huh. I thought a virtual assistant would be considered like ChatGPT, not a human. Apollo astronauts had a special private getaway known as the Beach House.
Free with every
Nice.
account. True story. Welcome to Huntington.
I like that. Don't be a writer, write. Don't be an artist, make art. Don't be an entrepreneur, build and sell. Those focused on being, there are two types of people. Those focused on being and those focused on doing. One wins awards and the other wins. I dig that. I dig that a lot. Fundamentally mental. Hedonistic. Hedonistic. Hi guys.
6 million awakening one.
Joining on this voyage towards truth and freedom, turn on the notification bell right now and subscribe to this channel. We make content every single day and we need you to watch all of it. And we need you to comment so that we can make even more content because you are the fuel that makes us grow. And if we to unite against the threat of terrifying killer robots and AI taking all of our jobs, we better learn to communicate better, even if the systems of communication may end up being co-opted by those very robots. Let's have a look at some of those terrifying robots now.
Can't look at the robots. Not allowed to.
I don't like that their sound might be like Stop, or one of those Broadway shows where people are like dum 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 dum. I'd rather they river dance. Yeah, well, these know strapped a gun to their back and just let them loose in society where they nervously spray bullets into a barren landscape. Alright, well, as long as it's just the military using these terrifying robot dogs against people from other countries who are nothing like us and don't have soul, spirit stuff, we don't have to worry about that. We don't want them filtering into domestic police forces and being used against the domestic population. That would be unforgivable. There, I draw the line. In March, the Biden administration was criticised for encouraging local governments to use the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds, a $1.9 trillion pandemic relief aid package on policing in the midst of an ongoing pandemic. There are many confusing things that happened in that pandemic, but just didn't make sense. But perhaps the most confusing thing was when they went, okay, in order to help people that have suffered as a result of this pandemic, we are buying an army of robot dogs that can shoot people. How's that gonna help? Wear a mask? Some towns and cities approved police requests to spend pandemic relief funds on drones and armoured vehicles. We brought you that story at the time. This week, members of Los Angeles City Council's Public Safety Committee voted in favour of LAPD's acquisition of military robots. Because LAPD have got such a great history when it comes to dealing with civil unrest. But what you want is them to have autonomous, clip-clop gun dogs unleashed from Compton. The result of the committee's vote were not surprising. 4 of its 5 members are top recipients of campaign donations from political groups representing LAPD officers. Of course, there are great people in the police force. I happen to know some great people in the police force, so this is not an out-and-out attack on the police force. This is an attack on militarising the police force and the potential of the police force being used against the public that they're supposed to be protecting and serving. It's not like there's any history or current news stories about the police attacking citizens. In the past, these semi-autonomous quadrupedal bots have had only brief tours of duty with police forces across the US. Do you know how they're introducing them to us by making them laugh, aren't they? They're giving like, hey, look at these funny little clip-clop dogs. How can we make America the people like these evil killer robots? Make them like dogs? Yeah, make them like dogs. They wouldn't fall for that though. When they'll see a dog with a gun on its back, it's still a sort of robot dog.
Still a robot dog.
Look at this one. It thinks it's people. God, you. It's people. In Honolulu, Hawaii, police deployed the bots at homeless encampments during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. The NYPD was also seen using a bot named DigiDog to patrol public housing projects.
Oh, goody.
Where should we start introducing these robot killer dogs to the public? What about, like, homeless people, poor people? Can't do anything about it. Whose spirits have been broken by crushing inequality. I mean, would that be wrong? Would that be the wrong thing? Surely what they need is identifiable aid. In fact, this $1.9 trillion package could be used to... Listen, you know where this is heading. We're sending those robot dogs to fuck with the homeless. Sorry.
That's right.
While robot maker Boston Dynamics has promised that it wouldn't allow its bots to harm human beings, that'll do then. That's not the plot of Terminator. We promise we will not go back into the past and kill John Connor. Well, that's enough for me. Carry on then. The San Francisco City Council voted last year that it's okay for police to use robots to kill. Well, they fucking already changed their mind. Yeah, I suppose it would be okay for it to kill. Yeah, but definitely not going back in time though. Oh, no. Definitely, let's not change that. We can't do that yet. The LAPD dog-like military robot was bought at a cost of nearly $280,000. If the past is precedent, the goal here is to normalise and ingrain the technology so that taxpayers start footing the bill down the line. No, they wouldn't do that, would they? Get the taxpayers to pay for something that became profitable and ultimately led to less freedom for all of us. No, that doesn't even sound remotely familiar. This is what happened when LAPF, Los Angeles Police Foundation funded a pilot of LAPD body camera surveillance, funded LAPD's implementation of Palantir data processing systems, funded the hiring of controversial academics from NYU School of Law's policing project to write new technology policies, and paid to set up the first test sites of the Community Safety Partnership Surveillance Program. But otherwise, have you done it? No. Other than that seemingly endless list, we've barely done it at all. All those privately funded experiments have since become taxpayer liabilities. They can't be, have they? Residents have warned that the robots be outfitted with lethal munitions, following a pattern of mission creep that we saw with LAPD's use of drones, body cams, and myriad other technologies. But it's not just killer robots on the street we need to worry about, although that is quite a lot to worry about. Because, you know, most of us aren't homeless or so poor that we can be used to test robot dogs on. Yet. Major fast food chains are employing thousands of robots to flip burgers, brew espressos, and greet customers. Would you like a coffee? Ow! Shit! Ow! God! Sorry, sir. Sorry. See you in court. I am your new lawyer. That guy's a good friend of mine. And it's a fraction of the cost compared to paying human workers. Phew! A plan with no drawbacks. White Castle is testing the Flippy robot. This is the Flippy robot. Oh, wow! The Flippy robot. Well, that sounds fun. What does it do? Flip and flop and slide around, play funny games? It takes your job. Oh, but look at Flippy. That was your life. Fuck you. Is that what the flip is? Yes. White Castle is testing the Flippy robot at 100 locations, and Chipotle uses a one-armed robot to make tortilla chips at one site, and Starbucks has $18,000 AI-powered espresso machines in at least 1,200 locations. When you watch this mainstream media news report on the Flippy robot, please notice their perspective and their general tone towards the Flippy robot. That it's favourable, that it's fun, that it's innocuous. Even when it's announced that it's going to have a human economic cost, they still see it as brilliant because their agenda is not interrupted by the Flippy robot. It is ultimately so, as is your espresso, piping hot by a robot that hates you.
Chipotle is testing an autonomous kitchen robot that can make its tortilla chips. Yes.
Yes, you idiot.
Officials with the chain restaurant said the mechanical assistant named Chippy.
Do you think people will accept these robots if we give them glib, stupid little nicknames? No, they won't be that stupid. Sorry, sir, you've lost your job. Oh, boy, I've been working my hardest.
I know, but look at Chippy.
Fuck you.
Chippy will allow the humans to focus on actual food-related issues.
Yes, we need a little positive news. That's not positive news. That's not positive news if you're a minimum wage person. That's not positive news if you're concerned about the automation of the workforce. That's not positive news if you care about increasing inequality and the inability of ordinary people to organise against centralised power. That's bad news. That's bad news, cheerfully delivered by the media arm of centralised authority.
A follow-up story on Chippy, of course, also related to Flippy, which is the hamburger flipper that is stationed in some White Castle restaurant.
There's Chippy, there's Flippy. Hey, sir, come back here. Grippy? Come back here, drink your coffee. Ah, too hot, I can't drink it. Get Grippy.
Chippy is essentially, as we saw in the photos there, a long robotic arm that cooks tortilla chips and dumps them into a bin.
Dumps them into a bin. Bon appetit.
And ultimately removing the need for an employee to be there doing this. I'm all for Chippy, guys. Chippy and Flippy.
Chippy and Flippy and Lippy and Grippy. It's like Teletubbies for future unemployment.
This might be good for stocks like a Chipotle, eventually like a McDonald's, because it is just going to drive a lot more efficiency.
In a way, even this innocuous, seemingly, story is a good example of how the mainstream media facilitates the agenda of centralised authority. I don't want to be conspiratorial, but the coalescence of financial interests is to the advantage of the kind of elites that hugely benefited, for example, during the pandemic and benefit during this war. And the more that people become expendable, generally speaking, the more power they have. If, like, the only power that we have is, hey, we're not going to do that, we're not buying that, why don't we come together and organise our own system? Once we've got Chippy, Flippy, Lippy and Grippy, or Donald Duck's bastard robot nephews, no leverage against us. Actually, we've got a leverage robot.
As I mentioned, reduces labor costs in the restaurant.
Reduces labour costs means reduces your ability to negotiate a living wage for your time.
To invest one time in this particular robot, that's one less employee.
One less employee, they're literally describing how you lost your job. I mean, was there not enough suffering in the 2008 crash? Was there not enough suffering during the pandemic? Was there not enough global suffering as a result of these interests being pursued at every level of society? Then this is presented as like good news. Chipotle will be sacking people and dumping your food in a bin and expecting you to say thank you for it.
Let's look at this robot as an employee. That employee is not going to be taking off days from work.
Oh, it's not going to be taking up any time, is it? Flippy or Chippy is it's certainly not going to complain about its labor conditions or about growing inequality across America or the possibility of ordinary people having a life that's built around more than just working, endless shifts, and maybe looking out the window one day and seeing a butterfly or a leaf floating on a breeze. Jimmy don't care about nature. Jimmy don't care about you. Jimmy don't care about God. Jimmy don't care about nothing.
Unless the arm falls off because the bolts fall off, and that is unlikely. Bolts fall off.
We didn't like the bit where you said the bolts might fall off. Sorry about that. Your job could be done by flipping. We put a tile in. I'll do it. Just tell me where to stand. We gotta get that voice right. It's based on Zelensky.
Lastly, improved food quality. Again, I'm all for the perfect chip. Give it to me. I'm willing to pay more for the perfect tortilla chip.
Hey, Bear-ass boy, how you doing?
How dare they include improved food quality on that list? Like a faceless, soulless robot can prepare food better than a human being, or your grandmother, or the relationship between ceremony, ritual, community, culture, and food. Every single bit of humanity extracted. The thing that's true is reduces labour costs. All the other things on that list are sort of mitigating factors. They don't care about anything other than that. And I'm not blaming the individual news show, or even a massive organisation like Chipotle. It's systemic thinking. We have already become automatized in the way we approach reality because of interests built around finance and domination.
They become a person, I think. Who fixes Chippy? I had a great conversation with the Chippy.
People struggle to match their humanity.
You know, this is essentially like a factory worker. Yeah, a factory machine. If you're a Ford, you operate robots right now. This is very much something similar, and maybe it won't wear out that much. All right.
But where are all these ideas coming from? A 2020 World Economic Forum report predicted that robotics and automation would displace 85 million jobs globally in the coming 5 years. Experts have also claimed that AI bots will take 20% of all jobs within 5 years. That's inequality in action. That is, you will own nothing and you will be happy in action. This is the concentration and consolidation of power. And if you think that's conspiratorial, remember the technological revolution of the 50s. Vacuum cleaners, white goods, dishwashers, all that. What is there now? Have you got more time? Or has it worked out that there's just built-in obsolescence and endless cycle of consuming? And this is just another advance in the same mentality. But according to the WF, more new roles will be created, 97 million, as humans, machines and algorithms increasingly work together. It's a bit sketchier on those particular details of his master plan. But this will help everybody. How? I don't know. Would you like some bugs? No. What if Flippy makes the bugs all delicious for you? I am your grandmother. Eat your bugs. You're not supposed to eat it.
Hi, Paulie C. How are you doing today?
Let's see how the research underwrites some of Klaus'
Good afternoon.
theories. New research shows the rise of robots may not be as beneficial for workers as some claim. What? Automation
No
could
kidding.
have positive impacts on economic growth and productivity, according to economists, but workers might not reap the rewards. What about trickle-down economics? We can use Drippy to scoop up any trickles and give those back to the elites.
Scoop up the
Exposure
trickles.
to robots has negative effects on employment, leading some workers to drop out of the labour force and increasing unemployment. The Economist examined the effects of industrial robots on the Chinese labour market using data from over 15,000 families and found that the workforce struggled to adjust to the dramatic changes brought by robotics. So what exactly was it that made working with robots so difficult? Do you want an espresso? Do you want an espresso? Dump that in the bin. What is the problem? Are we not drinking enough? Robot exposure led to a decline in labour force participation, -1%, employment, -7.5%, and hourly wages, -9% of Chinese workers, they wrote. At the same time, among those who kept working, robot exposure increased the numbers of hours worked by 40%. The implications of robotisation in emerging markets for jobs, growth, and inequality could be profound, the economists wrote. They went on to argue that developing nations may be faced with the decision between increased productivity and potential high economic inequality and social unrest if they choose to continue automating away jobs with robots. Hopefully then, there are new protest laws being introduced all over the world and harsh new measures preventing people from forming unions and coming together. Also, hopefully, there are massive censorship laws that prevent people from conducting conversations in public spaces that allow them to organise around alternative narratives and agenda that oppose centralised authority. Keep watching the mainstream media, everyone. You'll see the way this is heading. That's why we need independent voices like this and independent conversations like this one, so that we can continue to present mainstream news and advancing technologies in a more balanced light. That's not to say technology isn't fascinating, but all of this could be used to create some kind of utopian society where people didn't need to work and that we could spend all our time praying and exploring inner and outer space and creating wonderful new systems of opportunity in care and love for one another, psychedelic adventures, but I don't imagine that's the way all this is heading. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments in the chat. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at either of these. Turn on the notification bell for censorship, because AI is already being used to direct your attention towards favourable narratives and obscure narratives that may awaken you, inform and empower all of us. More importantly,
Amen.
please stay free.
Don't you know that's really happening?
Pop quiz,
That's better.
What's the first ingredient in Smucker's Natural Stronger? Very smart, Craig. Berries.
Hey, Jeans Gear, how you doing? Good morning. Welcome to the show. Just kind of chilling out, stretching out a little bit.
You ever heard the saying, behind every great man you'll find a great woman? You ever heard that before?
Oh, that guy's kind of a jackass. How are we looking over here? That's kind of a jackass. That's kind of a jack.
Hi, Annika. How are you?
Hello, I am doing well.
We often tend to see planet Mars as a place. There's something strange about this Chinese spy balloon that just got shot down, and nobody seems to be talking about it.
Well, I might be able to make that happen tomorrow. I've got some jeans shorts. Right now I'm multi-streaming on 2 YouTube channels, 2 Odyssey channels, and strip chats. So, getting too skimpy gets risky, if you know what I mean. But I'll keep that in mind. I do have some shorts. I'm pretty sure I can still fit in them. I don't know about with the bloat after the antibiotic course, but I will give it a go.
2.5 hours later, 1,440 hours, at an approximate altitude of 85,000 feet, Yucca was detonated by radio command signal. Failure of the telemeter command transmitter to activate the canister instruments prior to burst time resulted in almost complete...
I'm pretty sure I can find them. I think I know where they're at in the closet.
In the 1950s, the United States government started testing nuclear devices detonated from balloons. Enter Project Yucca, the balloon nuclear detonation test as part of Operation Hard Attack. Quote, Yucca was the codename of the first unique high-altitude test of a nuclear device ever carried out by a stratospheric balloon. The main goal of the United States Department of Defense and Los Alamos Scientific Laboratory was to study the effect of the detonation of a W-25 air defense warhead at high altitude as part of the developmental work of an anti-ballistic missile. This test, along with 2 other exo-atmospheric detonations, performed using rocket-borne warheads of a megaton scale, codenamed Teak and Orange, were included under Operation Newsreel as part of Operation Hardtack. As occurred in most nuclear tests, it was necessary to set up a series of monitoring stations and instrumented vehicles to retrieve the data at the moment of the explosion. The measurements of the electromagnetic pulse generated by the blast was performed by the Army Signal Research and Development Laboratory from 2 stations located at Orco and Kuseng, approximately 100 miles and 460 miles from Bikini, respectively. Balloon flight testing for Yucca began in 1956 at various locations in the United States, like Nellis Naval Air Station in California, Haldeman Air Force Base in New Mexico, and Goodfellow Air Force Base in Texas. In all, a total of 76 balloons were launched in preparation for the event. And on the morning of April 28, 1958, the USS Boxer departed from Bikini to the launch point. After the bomb was assembled and armed, the balloon was released at 11:25. During ascent, the nuclear device was separated from the balloon at a distance of 568 feet by a hydraulic load lowering device. And the measurement instrumentation was additionally deployed along a nylon line at specific intervals totaling 3,000 feet below it. At 12:50, the balloon reached a floating altitude of 85,000 feet, and finally at 14:40, the nuclear device was detonated by radio command in a point located 85 miles northeast of Inuitak. The device produced a yield of 1.7 kilotons, a small amount for the standard of the times. The fact that an electromagnetic pulse is produced by a nuclear explosion was known since the very first days of nuclear weapons testing, but the magnitude of the EMP and the significance of its effects were not realized for some time. According to the data published in the final report of hardtack, which was declassified several years later, Yucca provided the first indication in United States testing that high altitude